are the top meta decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Big dogs, it is time. YCS Vancouver is finished, and so are the other events for the last 3 weeks. It is time we give you a comprehensive tier list on one of the best, all the way down to River situation. Look, big dog, I've been playing a ton of Cyberpunk 2077, and I know I'm late, but we're gonna use a whole bunch of references. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, just like how the TheCaliEffect thing isn't here, I didn't let it ruin the intro, and don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. So the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks post YCS Vancouver and regional events alike. I think that it's only fair for people that don't play Cyberpunk to kind of explain what these tiers are. Pan Am good means you're the best thing to ever happen. I want y'all to think Megan Good back in the 2000s, Rihanna in the 2010s. J-Lo in her heyday. This is top tier. These are the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Then we have a Jackie situation. Look, man, it's something that you really root for, a deck that you want to do good. I can't say much else without spoiling the story, but just know that you really want it to succeed. You can't help but root for these decks. Takes a good edge runner is literally just takes a good pilot. And lastly, that's what I feel about decks. The worst of the worst, dog. You're not going anywhere. And I also want to point out that every single one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are pretty powerful in their own right. This tier list is a representation on how easy it is to be able to top the highest level events with them. With that being said, let's jump on in. In my meta tier list, I said that Maliss was one of the better decks, but we wouldn't go talk about it because it was getting phased out. Then Maliss over the weekend had to rear its ugly head and cyburst its way into some good wins. I wouldn't say that the deck's Pan Am good, but easily a solid choice. Maliss has adapted to this Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta way better than Ryzeal. I think it's simply because it had less hit cards and it's a more malleable deck. On top of that, it getting support from Duelist Advance in Maliss March Hare is way better than the Ryzeal support that was given to us. I think a lot of these Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies are just one support card away or one solid ban list away from being really good. Unless you're a Blue Eyes player. You guys got support and got worse. Now granted, people were saying Kaiba Man sucks, Kaiba Man sucks. But my man C-Rax topped a regional running Kaiba Man inside of his Blue Eyes, and guess what? 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. You fake Kaibas, you make sure you apologize to him. He the GOAT. I want to see nothing but 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in every single one of your decks. I think Blue Eyes is actually a pretty decent counter to decks like Dracotail because of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. It can also search cards like Effect Veiler, which is really good in this format, and has a lot of room to play hand traps, as well as cards like Dominus Purge. But the fact of the matter is, Blue Eyes is a deck that you want to root for because it's anime, but definitely is in that Jackie type situation. A strategy that hasn't proven itself to be strong enough, but is still really good at that local and possibly even that regional level settings. All you gotta do, play the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Do it, do it, do it. Big dogs, I think that Mitsurugi, damn. I thought that Mitsurugi would be a complete force in Yu-Gi-Oh! As a more pure version of the deck, moving itself away from Ryzeal and more to things like Orcust. God, I couldn't have been more wrong for this week. I still do think that Mitsurugi is hands down one of the best TCG exclusives of all time, which is actually crazy considering that I put it in the same realm as Burning Abyss. And if you guys played Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, you know how powerful Burning Abyss is. What's that you say, Sonny? Burning Abyss is actually a really strong Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. In fact, it even got support in Duelist Advance, Mutiny in the Sky, and the Pewee the Dawn's Light are crazy strong Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. On top of that, it even lets you summon Lucy, and Lucy's a great card for 7 Trials of Law and Order. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah! Law and Order SVU is where I start playing Gladiator Beasts. And if you know anything about the old Law and Order SVU, Detective Benson started off with Gladiator Beast Lucari. And that's how you get game. Mitsurugi might not be getting any direct support anytime soon, but I still think it's a Jackie situation. A Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that people can get behind and root for, and just needs a little bit more support or a favorable ban list to make it crazy again. Moving on to Crystron. I told you guys time after time again, Crystron is one of them ones, and I'm not talking about one of them twos. Okay, I might be talking about one of them twos because this is not the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! But Crystron gets considerably stronger with the K9 cards, considering that both Solfenir and Solfador are level 5 monsters themselves, so it has a lot of interchangeability. If you guys want to know anything about Crystrons, because I know you didn't read the cards, this is the K9 deck that makes Cyber Dragon Infinity. Beware of it, it's really, really good. Fire Kings have fallen from grace. We did have a Fire King deck that topped inside of the last 3 weeks. It was a Fire King Fiendsmith deck, but I think that's more towards an anomaly than actually Fire King being representative as a very strong Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I'm putting it in decks. Listen, big dog, what Fire Kings genuinely lack is a consistency piece, because it actually does have a lot of things going for it. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can play on turn 0 with Fire King Avatar Kirin. And it actually does line up to this new age Yu-Gi-Oh being a strategy that plays around the Chermi cards pretty well and establishes boards. The problem with this deck is that it needs a consistency piece. 1 to 2 more Fire King cards that allow the deck to all come together. Even better if those cards allow you to be able to play on your opponent's turn, and this is one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh again. Sky Strikers are actually way better than what people are giving it credit. And with new support on the horizon, I would not sleep on this deck, but for right now, a Jackie situation. I think one of the best things about Sky Strikers is that it is a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can go second and not play any hand traps, and just has a crazy good advantage. Another thing is that if you lead off with Engage, a lot of players might think you're on Yummy. So you can use that to your advantage to trick your opponent and do certain interactions that they normally wouldn't do. If you ask me, my bold take is that by the end of next format, this deck will be closer to here and here than right here. Utopia Ryzeal. Brother man, have you ever got clept for all your eddies? Basically, for you non-chooms, I'm saying, has somebody sold you oceanfront property in Kansas before? We probably all should have seen that this deck was fraudulent. This is definitely on the lowest tier, not a deck that I would recommend. And with that being said, I also have to get off my copium train too, because Psychics, why? Psychics got completely outpaced in this current format. Justice Hunters destroyed the deck. But what made it even worse is my ability to read. After hours of testing, I realized that the Mind Procedure monster can't activate its effect when summoned off of Emergency Teleport. Why did they make this deck a 3-2 card combo deck where every deck 1 card combos? We're gonna have to revisit this situation because I'm not giving up when the new set comes out, but for right now, don't play it, guys. It's not working. I am still going to go ahead and make that leap of faith with Memento though. Though it didn't have a really strong showing, this is still one of the Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that fit into Yu-Gi-Oh right now, being a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can play on turn 0 with K9, but also it's just straight up Memento. It can win at any given time. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and put it into solid choice. The Meme Team is still one of the most solid decks in the game, and I think is really good this format. It did get a couple of tops here and there over the last few weeks, but I don't think that's representative. This has always been a deck that's had lower player numbers and still brings home the bacon. Merms, my boy. It's really weird that we're in Yu-Gi-Oh right now and Mermail has an entire hand loop and no one has paid attention. It also even has the barrier statue lock. And the deck still has not done what you wanted to do. I think Mermail is definitely in a Jackie situation, but if the ban list goes correctly, it's going to be and takes a good edge runner. Because there's no way we survive another format with cards like Mulling and Water Barrier Statue off the list, right? Right? Find them up. Dracotails, man. I gotta say, I underestimated your game. Dracotails are a ridiculously powerful Yu-Gi-Oh deck and is easily part of the top 5 best decks in the room. Now, when we actually start to talk about it in the top 5 discussion, it's probably 4 or 5, but it's definitely still up there. It's better than all of these. Another thing that should be Pan Am good actually above it, which ain't a lot of things that's above Pan Am and Cyberpunk. The Raven Wing version 4s. Big dog, I have challenged myself to make it even better than the best sleeve, and we did it. Not only do we have an additional color and an additional size, I think the quality of the sleeves have gotten better. I've been my manufacturers, and we've been fixing up some things. If you guys want to support the channel while also getting something in return, go to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your sleeves, your mats, everything that we have today. And also, if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I got a Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. And anytime you go to tcgplayer.com, use my link. Yubel has literally walked off of a cliff. And I'm actually going to use Yubel to stand for Fiend Pile. Big dogs, we got Obeo a coup, and then we Obeo'd out of the meta. And you can almost say the exact same thing for Fiendsmith cards too. It's gonna be really interesting to see what Konami has to do to address these Fiendsmith cards, and if they're actually going to even be a threat. But I'm gonna say for right now, this is gonna be takes a good edge runner. I think Fiend Pile Yu-Gi-Oh decks aren't bad, and if players really start playing less Charmy cards, it might be pretty good. Vanquish Soul. All right, I mean, second best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, boys. What do we need to talk about? I think one of Vanquish Soul's biggest hangups is that the deck is really hard to play. And personally, I think the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh should be hard to play. I'm tired of little Timmy down the street beating me because he Fiendsmith or he did some combo that he watched on YouTube. I need you to beat me for real. And then when you beat me for real, I smack you and take your cards. You ain't stronger than me though. Saying this all to an 11-year-old is cruel, by the way. Timmy's 11. Vanquish Soul is what I hope Yu-Gi-Oh does in the future, a really powerful deck, but you have to learn the interactions and everything about it to be able to succeed efficiently. I think that Primite Fiendsmith was a solid deck to run around, but the new support didn't do enough. In actuality, the new support made it more Primite based and didn't make it as generic, which is a good thing. I think this is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck that can actually do things in the future though. Labrynth is also one of those Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that takes a good edge runner, dog. Brother man, you don't know how good edge runners are. I want you to think, for you non-cyberpunk players, edge runners is if you doing a drive-by or something and you got somebody that really know how to drive. Like, I know I might be showing my age, but Jeff Gordon type knows how to drive. I bet you don't know who Jeff Gordon is. You gotta be that type of insane Yu-Gi-Oh player to pilot some of these decks that take a good edge runner. Moving on to Yummy. Look, man, you guys don't like it. I don't like it, but it's the best deck in the format, man. It has gotten just about the most tops, if not one, it's two. And it has succeeded in the biggest event of the format so far. This deck is hard to counter, and we're gonna have to start doing some really crazy stuff to beat it. Utopia as a pure deck. Oh, you were serious? I can imagine a Yu-Gi-Oh player playing Utopia and winning if we ever start doing those things that football allows you to do. There's that one clip, I think it's off of a movie, where a particular person, they let him score a touchdown. Yeah, I think that would be the case for Utopia. You're only winning if they let you win. Oh God, I have a feeling that Maurice is gonna show that clip. Moving on to White Forest, I gotta say, Yu-Gi-Oh players, my bad. I ain't know your game. White Forest is also a deck that's pretty decent in this format strictly because of the breakers that it can play. It's really good at using those spell cards to not only discard when going first to make their combo, but also breaking your opponent's board and establishing some of the most ferocious boards that we've ever seen. I actually think that this deck is legit. I think it's a really, really solid choice. I'm also gonna go ahead and make a bold take. Lunalight didn't get any YCS tops, but I'm still going to give it the nod. I think that this deck is a lot better than what players will give it credit. Let's just keep it a bean, guys. These two decks can easily be right here, but I am giving it the nod of approval despite it not having the success. And the reason why is because this deck is unfair when it gets going. There's not many things that can stop Lunalight once it actually accomplishes the goal that it's trying to do. And I think that these two decks, while underrepresented, actually did do some pretty decent damage on the regional circuit and are still viable decks. Next is Orcust. Why are you doing this to me? Orcust takes a good edge runner. Questionably. Brother man, just because it's not their time to shine just right now doesn't mean that I am not standing on Orcust Galatea right now and telling you she not that bad. And I don't mean it in no drizzy type of way, because I know you gooners be gooning. I mean, it's a pretty solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. With the right pilot, it can accomplish things. And I would love to say the same about Punk, though I do think it's a tier below these decks. It's a strategy that just peaked at the wrong time in my opinion. K9 as a pure deck is completely trash, but K9 as an engine is a tier 1 engine. Literally, if any of these decks play K9 in them, they probably become significantly better. Problem is just fitting K9 into some of these decks doesn't make any sense. Gym Knight comes down to earth, guys. I think Gym Knight is a Jackie type situation, but there are some flaws that we need to address if this deck is to continue to be successful. Ryzeal Mitsurugi is definitely not a Jackie situation. Hell, if they put Ryzeal Mitsurugi over Jackie's face, I might have shot him myself. I think that it's a solid choice. This deck has actually had more success than both Lunalight and Memento, so it would be ridiculously foolish to put it anything lower. And I think that these are probably in order. These 5 decks, I think that these decks are also in order. Obviously, this is an engine, so this would be the 5th best. And we probably do this to make these in order. I think Memento might be a little bit better. Moving on, I think Branded is takes a good edge runner. The deck's not bad, though I think you'd be hard pressed not playing Dracotail Branded or even just Dracotail Pure. And lastly, a Cyber Dragon. I don't think it's not bad. It's not bad. I just can't seem to get it to work for me, but I've seen some pretty good results. And that's all that I have for the meta tier list post YCS Vancouver. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Of course, guys, let me know down below in the comment section, and be sure to join that Discord as well as subscribe to the channel to be able to enjoy the Academy. Of course, big dogs, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and be sure to check on these videos so I can catch you on the next one.